VG 较少，然后因为以前经常跟 VG 打过比赛，然后对好野风格也比较熟悉，他是属于那种防御流的，然后我希望打 VG 的时候能打得进攻一点。
And I will say they played more aggressive against Vici, though they didn't necessarily have to, and that was most of the game where they was just like farming, Gangplank was up top lane. Didn't even see him for most of the game, to be honest, but it was more about the mid lane. It was like, sure, I'll go Defco, absolutely, 100%, because he won't do anything until 40 minutes into the game. So it was like super easy for them to do whatever they wanted, and WE came out of a very easy game 1 win.
And it's not that xiye is incorrect either. He is very much aligned with Easyhoon's style. He wants to farm a lot. He does enjoy his late game scaling. That has always been the style of Vici Gaming's mid laner, even when he was on SKT.
Yep.
He is in the Azir meta, so naturally those bans go towards him. WE removed that in the first game, but the style always remains on the man, whether or not the champions do. He was kind of just outscaled against their opponents, respectively.
It's also the whole team, right? Because Easyhoon's very much a man who will sway the playstyle of an entire team. And when that happens, for better or worse, and I feel like in worse than the circumstance, because WE do essentially everything they can do but better, you know, as the old song goes. And WE, they just need to do more of the same. And it's actually pretty cool to see Condi come back and they get to play a game where it's essentially their style. And they seem like a more complete team now. WE seem like they're back on form. I will give them probably a couple more series to actually integrate,
course,
but
yeah.
I mean, Condi looks fantastic.
Yeah, he's been an immediate upgrade to the team as far as their play style feels, as far as their shot calling even feels for the objectives and for the way they ended the entire game. So yes, adding Condi has meant a significant deal to the side of Team WE. But they also just drafted themselves a 2017 World Championship composition, which is something they are very familiar with, and the entirety of the roster should understand how to play, execute, and win that. They siege, they get the outer turrets, they get the gold advantage, they translate that gold advantage to further objectives. They don't need to look for fights at that stage because they're already 5,000 gold ahead and know full well their opponents have to force the issue there, but they didn't. Vici never do. And so that is absolutely picking on the poor tendencies of Vici when behind, accelerating yourself through draft, and that is something that I 100% think should not exist in this next game if Vici are going to get through the draft phase.
And frankly, if you're WWE, just pick another fast push composition. That was a tongue twister, 100%. Because if you have the Caitlyn with the unsealed spellbook, then it's just like, oh, I wish Caitlyn had teleport, and now she does. So you just go from lane to lane, taking everything you want, and Vici aren't going to do anything. Either way, we'll see if that's actually the case. We send it over to casters for the call.
Thank you very much, Pulse. And you know what, Clement, as much as he says he's sending over to us for the call, I feel like we should invite Pulse and Rusty over here, because that game, we had all the time in the world to, you know, analyze it, break it down, and tell everyone what's happening, because Team W literally tore Vici apart limb for limb.
Yeah, pretty much. I want to highlight, I feel like W, the best thing about them that game was their timing in the way they did things. So when Sejuani was about to hit 6, and there was a possibility that would get punished for the Caitlyn push. They did a 2v2, and they stopped that. And also their early Baron call when they saw that 2 items weren't completed on Jinx, and also teleport was on Meow. They instantly went for it. So really good ideas to push the pacing of the game.
Well, Team WE will head into the second game being on the blue side of Summoner's Rift. Vici will be swapping over to the red side. Similar bans coming out from Team WE with Azir, Camille, and Kalista hitting the bench. Zoe, Kog'Maw, and the final ban from Vici still waiting to be seen. But Zoe being banned on the red side, Clement. Something that we normally see as a blue side ban.
That is true. Zoe, there are 2 different teams in the LPL. One side is the teams that do play Zoe, and the other side are the teams that don't. And typically, if you're on the red side and you don't play it, you ban it out. So this is kind of a clear pointer that maybe that's not a champion Easyhoon's particularly comfortable with.
Well, final ban from Vici is going to be Jarvan. Condi's first game back in the LPL. He's picked it up. So he'll be playing his second champion heading to the jungle this time round. Galio is the first pick that comes out from Team WE.
So they're going all in on that. Ryze is still up, still one member of the Big Four. Also Malzahar up. But xiye feels very comfortable on this pick. We've seen it a couple times in the LCK, and that does have some effect on the LPL meta as well. Vici Gaming picking up Ryze and Sejuani. I feel like they do have good engage and good ways to punish WE if they go for a similar composition with the Realm Orb.
Whereas Gangplank once more for Team WE. Picked up in the top lane for 957.
I feel like Vici really need to lock in their AD carry at this point if the Varus does go through, because if it's like game 1, Martin might not have much to play.
That instead, once more Team WE say, you know what? It worked in game 1. Let's go for Caitlyn again in game number 2. Now Vici have to decide what their final pick in the first rotation is going to be.
They do have Varus. Varus is a fine pick. Can also push with the Caitlyn.
They still have some time to decide. Varus is available. Ezreal is available for as well. Martin cheekily hovering over the Draven, but that's probably not going to be a pick here. Instead, as you mentioned, Vici now have the chance to pick up Varus, and they do.
Yeah, xiye kind of gave it away. He shouldn't have hovered on the Varus, you know. He should have made Vici think a little bit more, but gave them hints, and Vici took them.
Now Vici targeting the support pool against Team WE. Janna is the first ban that comes out.
For WE, we might see Alistar and Braum. They've actually been the only LPL team to ban out Alistar and Camille in all of their games. Really afraid of that engage coming out from enemy teams.
But first they go for Na, taking away Meow's champion from last match.
That's interesting. They were fine with it the first time.
Perhaps a change in jungle matchup might be the reason behind it, because Jarvan is banned out, but Vici have their final ban here. They will get first pick in the second draft phase.
They've already taken out the fast push composition that WE has, so going for a jungle ban, one of Condi's special.
Yep.
We've seen him play that a lot in the Demacia Cup.
And that's Rengar being banned out by Vici. So they've already taken away 2 pieces of that last puzzle that Team WE had, which was the Jarvan as well as Janna. Jace is the final ban that comes out from Team WE.
And this is the reason why I say Meow is a player we should look out for. A lot of teams respect him very, very much. We can see from the ban phases that they do try to target out Meow. Aurelia.
He's just hovering through quite a few
Fiora
champions
is a good
here.
counter pick.
We'll have to see what Meow does decide to bring into the top lane. Vici still waiting to pick up their top laner as well as their support.
Rumble's
and it is
good
Rumble.
because it dissuades a lot of fast pushing. A lot of times you cannot trade towers if you are going into a Rumble. Once he hits level 6, then fast pushing into him is no longer possible. So that's a very good pick in terms of countering the Gangplank and also in terms of just stopping what W has been trying to do.
Always buys you a wave of time when you have Rumble on your team. The Equalizer is really good at clearing out those waves. Team WE now have to pick up their support as well as potentially their jungler of choice.
Very defensive type of support, Tahm Kench. Even though Caitlyn, I feel like a lot of times doesn't really need that type of protection. They're probably just taking away from the Varus.
So they do go for Tahm Kench first. Now their jungler of choice for Condi.
They do want something with a gap closer or a very long-range gap closer just so Galio can tag onto it. We see the Rengar was also banned away, so preventing that cannonball composition coming out.
And Zac is the jungler of choice for Condi heading into his second match back in the LPL. Vici, they've already got the top side of the map figured out. Varus as their AD carry and now waiting to pick up a spot. They still have the Braum. They still have the Alistar if they want to go towards it. Hovering over Taric for now, a potential pick as well. And that's who they go for.
Yeah, there's not a lot of other picks available at this point. I feel like you could consider the Braum, but there's not a lot of ultimates from W that you actually want to block. So going for the Taric, that's going to prevent the Galio from getting a clean, full engage onto their team. It's a better choice in my opinion.
And we saw Taric earlier today, played by EDG against Billy Billy Gaming, to great success by Mako as well, who you got the chance to talk to earlier today.
Yep. It's just a very strong champion at this point. Can engage, can play defensive as well. We've seen a lot of cool things. Talia Taric is my favorite combo in the LPL so far.
Talia Taric.
Yeah,
why Talia Taric?
You put Dazzle on Talia, and Talia uses her Weaver's Wall to go to places and stun someone. It's like a drive-by. It's so cool to watch. It's a drive-by which you can follow up with the Talia combo.
Oh boy, hopefully we don't see that, because that sounds actually atrocious, Clement.
What? That's actually a good combo. I've seen it work in the LPL.
Oh, hopefully we won't see it ever again. It does actually sound like a fun combo. We'll have to see how that pans out this time around. No Talia, but Taric's still a really good pick. And how exactly does that fit in for Vici coming into this match?
I feel like what W is going for is a bit different than last game. Last game, they were a purely fast push type of composition. This game, they're trying to punish the Varus. They've already picked the Zac and the Galio, so it's going to be very difficult for the Varus to actually escape a lot of that. And I just feel like it's more of a teamfight-oriented composition coming out from WE rather than having a very strong fast push focus.
They still have a lot of pressure with the Caitlyn being picked up, a lot of global potential with the Galio as well as the Gangplank. Potentially an unsealed spellbook again for Caitlyn, could be roaming around the map with that teleport. So very similar almost from Team WE, but at the same time, those two pieces of the puzzle that were missing, the Jarvan as well as the Janna, could make the whole world of difference for Vici. As they've also swapped things up coming into this game. What exactly are Vici trying to do? Because it seems like they put together something just to count out what Team WE threw at them last game.
That is partially true, but I also feel like they have a very strong mid-game fight composition. If you look at their damage mid-game, you have the Rumble spiking up at that point. You also have Varus with his ultimate. He also is a one-item AD carry with the Ginsu's Rage Blade. So if they get a good early Dragon and they can cause fights around it, I actually feel like Vici have a good chance to beat WE in those scenarios. But that does require them to be somewhat aggressive, which I'm not exactly sure Vici are comfortable doing.
Let's see if they can be aggressive heading into this second match, because last game, they kind of sat back. They were relaxing a little bit, Clement. But while they were relaxing, their house was burning down. I don't think you should be relaxing while your house is burning down.
It's like the little cartoon with the dog with a cup of coffee while everything is burning.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It was not fine, Clement. Vici lost that game. And Team WE now heading into game number 2. Very similar team comp, but again, different strategy this time around. We'll have to see how they execute on it. Same as game 1. We are going to have Vici and Team WE starting on the bottom side of the map. We saw the first blood vote coming out there.
73% of the people giving it to WE to take down First Blood. It's going to be a little bit difficult with Zach, but let's see how he does.
Yeah, moving into this game, Easyhoon against xiye in the mid lane. Ryze should be able to push back quite comfortably against Galio. Last game we saw xiye go for an early push straight into a recall and teleport back into lane against a Malzahar. However, Mystic on this Caitlyn should be able to push in against Caveman and Martin quite easily once more.
And again, taking that unsealed spellbook, so we're going to see some continuous trades being done here, continuous pushes being done here.
Well, we do have 2 teleports for Vici as well, an unsealed spellbook for Caveman. What is this?
This is really cute. Condi's doing the SOFM clear.
Yeah, SOFM clear, is that what it's called?
He didn't start the same way. SOFM likes to start, SOFM likes to start on his Wolves, go to red, and then go back for the double clear of that over there. But as Zach, you always want to do that because it speeds up your clear very significantly.
Well, he's having a little bit of a jungle party there, Zach. Condi able to clear a little bit faster in the jungle here. Top side of map, Meow and 957. Meow pushed up quite aggressively here. There is a ward to spot out Crash going for this gank. 957 shoots a barrel, runs a bit faster, but Crash does collapse. 957 forced to flash away, taking down that summoner spell from the Gangplank.
And that felt completely unnecessary from 957. They just spotted Crash in the river, still decided to escort the wave till that tower. So a bit of a weird move there from 957.
Well, as we were talking about earlier, there are a lot of teleports in this game, and Clement, Caveman has an unsealed spellbook as well in this match.
Oh yeah, you gotta love that teleport from behind Taric to change a team fight.
Well, let's see how this works for Vici. We know that last game they were split apart across the map due to all the global presence presented by Team WE. Now it seems like they have them almost equally matched. But Mystic and Ben still fairly oppressive in this lane. Varus and Taric should do a little bit better coming into this match. Jinx did not work out for them, and Crash is looking for a return gank into the top lane. Sees the blast cone is available.
Oh, he's going to come from the brush, and this is going to cut down on a lot of time 957 has. Doesn't get the explosive barrel, gets the speed buff a bit late.
Flash does come out from Crash, so 957 does get locked down. It's an orange,
Should
but
be
is
dead.
he K, Clement? Is he K? He is not! Meow picks up first blood.
Yeah, a bit of, it's a bit weird from 957. I felt like his lane was in a very bad spot. You could see that Meow actually held the wave after the first flash was burned from 957. Also failed to pop his barrel on the first go.
Hello, Condi going for a bit of a one-on-one against Caveman. Caveman clearly winning that fight. He still wants this Grom. Caveman not going to get it, but he pops the passive. Ben's here trying to defend the little bloblets. Is it enough? Now Ben and Caveman
no mana.
go for a little bit of a
the
fight
AoE.
here. Condi in some trouble, does have flash
Ryze is
available.
coming in as well.
He's here and trying to cut him off. Ben will be able to eat up the Zac, bring him back to safety. What the heck is going on?
I would say worth for Condi. He actually got a summoner for just his passive. held on to his flash. I know that looks really, really bad coming from a jungler doing that, and there was a very real chance they would get punished, but in the end, the results are worth.
Well, you know, it's just part of his speed SOFM clear there. He needed Caveman next to the Grump so he could deal more damage to the Grump.
Oh, okay, okay. Just another target for the Q.
Don't believe myself for a second there, but still Condi getting out with the help of his support. Is able to take down the Grump, gets a summoner spell from Caveman, but loses his passive. We'll have to see if that affects Team WE later on in the match. However, it was Vici that picked up first blood top side of the map. We know that teams have been able to pick on this Gangplank. Ryze is one of the champions in the mid lane that constantly gets picked up to do so, but it was just 2 repeat ganks coming out from Crash to be able to do that.
Yeah, and it was fairly easy from Vici Gaming. Now what you want to see is them try to punish 957 again and again, because usually Gangplanks go for magical footwear, and if you can kill him over and over again before he gets his boots, and he's actually locked out of getting boots, then you can put him really, really far behind.
Well, as we move back into the bottom lane, Clement, I know exactly what I'm going home to play in solo queue today. It's going to be Teleport Misfortune, because that just looks like so much fun. You never leave the lane. It's great.
And if you think about it, you're not actually missing out on that much. You can make up with whatever you're losing just by pure gold gain.
Condi again trying to farm inside of Crash's jungle, but Crash spots him out, takes all the Raptors, thanks him for the leash. But a much more even start to the match between Team WE and Vici. Meow starting to turn on the heat top side of the map as 957 constantly gets poked out by the harass of the Flame Spitter.
Yep. He's waiting for the wave to come into him. At this point, he really doesn't have much say in the matter. He probably doesn't want to push out at all. Doesn't have any of his summoners. He's going to have a hard time against Rumble.
Ooh. Equalizer being burnt as well, just for the additional poke onto 957. Crash is on the top side of the map, has not been spotted out by a ward just yet, but we have Condi as well as xiye trying to rotate towards the top side.
Ryze is here as well.
Easyhoon is there. Scrying orb that was popped did not spot them out. Crash looking to try and threaten for the dive. Both teams just playing a big game of chicken here, Clement, and neither team taking the bait just yet.
Yep, Crash probably doesn't want to do it. They know Galio is rotating up, and he also doesn't have his ultimate, so calling that off at the last moment, mainly because they see the Galio out of lane.
Back into the mid lane, Easyhoon is trying to farm up against xiye. Both of them have hit level 7. And it's really just going to be a farm fest in this mid lane. Neither one is going to be able to take down the other.
Pretty much.
For now.
Yep. We do see Condi going very aggressive on a lot of his jungle invades, but it is important to kind of keep in mind what he's trying to do at this point. His bottom lane is going to constantly push, and his top lane is very far behind, so he wants to establish that jungle vision just to keep track of where Crash is on the map. So it might look silly at times from Condi, but he is doing that for his laners.
Easyhoon moves into Condi's jungle, takes away all these small raptors, but will leave the large one available for Condi to pick up later on the match. You can see Mystic and Ben still trying to trade against Martin and Caveman, but Martin and Caveman are now being able to almost equalize this lane, holding their own. Small CS lead for Mystic.
Yep. I actually feel this is when Martin might start to get a lead. If you look at the keystones, Martin still has the fleet footwork, so in these type of extended trade scenarios, he can start to slowly edge out a bit of HP advantage.
We'll have the heal coming out from Taric as well. That should keep him sustained over time. Top side of the map, 957. Still not having a great time against this Rumble. 10 CS lead for Meow. And you've already mentioned earlier, Clement, that Meow is someone that top laners in the LPL and LPL players in general have a lot of respect for.
Yeah, his Fiora was pretty good against Amazing J even. He actually won a lot of the 1v1 scenarios, even though Amazing J was able to outplay him on the map. We've only seen 5 games of him so far. So, you know, we don't really know what his champion pool is like. We've seen him go into tanks, we've seen him go into fighters, but from the bans being thrown at him, he's definitely someone that can play the Fiora, the Jax, and those fighter type of champions.
He is on the Rumble this time around. It's a champion that we know Rusty speaks a lot of on the desk. Thinks is a very strong pick in the current meta, but we don't see too much of it. Again, moving back into this bottom lane, although it looks a lot better for Martin and Caveman, and it looks like they're going to start to equalize this lane soon. Still good chip damage onto the bottom lane out of turret, but that's just something you kind of expect from Caitlyn in general.
Yep, and Vici Gaming for this game, I do feel they need to pick up the pace somewhere on the map. We've talked about that mid-game team fight coming in from Vici Gaming's composition, especially around this Mountain Drake, but that really does need to happen at some point. If it goes late, Gangplank has such a good time against this comp.
Well, they're going for a fight in the bottom lane. Caveman collapses as well. Mystic gonna flash away, but that's flash forward coming out from Taric. Gets a kill in the bottom lane for Vici. Martin almost gets taken down. However, it is a double kill for Meow after his teleport into the bottom lane.
And this is exactly what we hope to see coming up from Vici Gaming. They do need to leverage their composition. They have 3 immobile carries late game against a Gangplank. Now, someone is going to be hit by the barrel. You also have Zac coming in. So that's not a very good team fight look. In the late game for Vici, they have to pick up the pace now.
Immediately teleport back into the bottom lane. It's not xiye, it's not 957. That's Mystic returning into his own lane, just trying to pick up what's left of the farm down there. However, Vici with that early team fight, with the 3 kills they picked up, they're now 2,000 gold ahead, and here's that once more.
Let's watch that game. This fight again. Crash misses the ultimate, but what's more important is Caveman lands the dazzle. Also, Meow, very importantly, understanding that Gangplank does not have his teleport, so able to make a clean play in the bot lane.
On top of that, Easyhoon was able to rotate towards top side of the map to defend top lane outer from any damage. But Team WE are able to pick up the first turret of the game, bring them back just under 500 gold behind Vici Gaming.
And we can also see Martin working his way towards that first item. For WE right now, this is the point in the game where I feel like they have the least damage out of their entire power spikes. Top lane, you don't have your Triforce. Caitlyn is still kind of, stuck on one item even 5 minutes later in the game. So I feel like Vici Gaming actually have a lot of control over the map for the next probably 10 minutes of the game.
So after taking down bottom lane out of turret, Team WE are now going to rotate Caitlyn towards the top side of the map. Caveman has swapped out his Ignite for a teleport. So when that comes off of cooldown, he will be able to make his way throughout the rest of the map. Martin and Caveman going to get some good damage on the top lane out of turret. However, just like an equalizer, the Pirate's able to throw out the ultimate as well and try and take down some of these minions.
Yep, and he actually manages to clear the entire backline wave plus the cannon wave. And this is a great trade for WE. They actually trade 1 for nothing.
Mystic is going to try and push in this top side of the map. Team Vici Gaming are still pushing in the bottom lane. There's that trade. Equalizer is going to take down a lot of these minions. There should only be 1 left alive. Mystic will get a single auto attack onto that turret for his troubles. Team WE are still working on a Rift Herald while the bottom lane outer turret is taken down by Vici. During this time, however,
we do see xiye waiting in the bot side, trying to go in if Vici does decide to push in on this second turret.
Instead, 957 dodges a few skill shots. Here comes Galio. Tahm Kench coming into the bottom lane as well. Crashes on the wrong side of the map. Trying to run away, throws out the ultimate, connects onto Gangplank. Easyhoon's going to try and collapse as well, trying to help out his team. But there's the ultimate from Easyhoon. Delivers Crash away from danger.
Yeah, we could see right there what xiye was trying to do was taunt Easyhoon, but doesn't manage to land the CC off, only gets a chip on Crash. So W do decide to defend and kind of drag the game out. The other option they had after Galio went to the bot lane was try to take down the top lane tower, but they decided to keep the map more closed down and deny that extra maneuvering space from Vici and just do a 1-for-1 trade.
Mystic was able to get some chip damage in the top lane out of turret. Condi picked up Rift Herald as well. So that's still available to be used by Team WE when they choose to push for another turret. As you've mentioned, Mountain Dragon is up and available as well. Both blue buffs going to be picked up by the mid laners too.
This is fairly interesting from Vici. I feel like they're leaving the Mountain Drake up to kind of bait WE into a fight. You could see that when they were pushing towards the second tower, they had a very clear opportunity to go for that Mountain Drake. Decided just, we're going to keep this there. We want you to fight. We want to take it when you want to fight for it.
Team WE have not made any attempt to move towards that objective just yet. Condi is still farming out the rest of his jungle, trying to take down as many camps as possible. 957 happy to be farming on his side of the map for now. In the mid lane, these two are going to fight each other, Clement, but at this point, it's not really fighting. They don't do any damage to each other yet.
This Gangplank might be feeling a little bit insecure now. If you look at the ward line, he's clearly above Vici's ward line, so 957 backs out immediately. This is going to give a lot of free reign towards Vici, especially in the bot side.
Caveman does get locked down by Ben topside map. Martin has his ultimate available, uses it. They're trying to get as much damage onto this Tahm Kench as possible. Crash gets into the top side of the map. Grey Health comes out. That's a big combo from the Pirate and the Blubberman. Condi gets good damage out. Crash forced the flash away. Caveman lives with a sliver of health, and Team WE turn around the team fight.
I do feel like Caveman should not have held on to his Cosmic Radiance for so long. They were going in already, and the enemy team was definitely going to react. He should have just popped his Cosmic Radiance, and they actually could have gotten that Tahm Kench kill and backed out.
Meanwhile, 957 reckons he can pick a fight against Meow. After a couple of auto attacks from the overheating Rumble, realized that is not a good idea. And Rumble is 3-0 at the moment.
And a bit of a missed opportunity from Vici. Definitely could have gotten more out of that fight if Caveman just popped his Cosmic Radiance a bit sooner when they were going on in the Tahm Kench.
Another teleport being used into the mid lane by xiye. Gold is fairly even, about 1,000 gold for Vici at the moment. Rift Herald still available to be used by Condi, but he has not made a proactive attempt to use it just yet.
They're probably going to wait for Ryze to back. We could already see him singing the recall over there.
With 3 teleports still available for Vici. 957 taking some damage from Meow. 1 equalizer and he's at half health.
957 is not having a good day.
Well, there's the Rift Herald finally being used by Condi on the top side of the map. That will slowly push him with Mystic and Ben.
Meow does have teleport, but no equalizers to stop that top lane push.
Crash is making his way towards the top side of the map. Rift Herald will get a charge in here. Good damage. Now will tank up the turret as well. So Mystic should be able to take this one down. Vici not able to defend top lane out of turret. Gold is now dead even between the two teams.
Yep, and we could see that Ryze was thinking about backing and trying to help out the top lane with his teleport, but that went on a little bit too fast for Vici to really respond. They had an opportunity for the Varus with his Ginsus to come on the map and try to make an engage out of that, but Easyhoon was, caught in a bad back timing, so that did not happen.
Vici now looking to try and respond. Crashes on the top side map. Teleport being used by Easyhoon to get into this fight as well. xiye is here. Good damage onto Condi. He is being taken down fairly low. Teleport being used by Meow to get into this fight as well. xiye locks him down. Good combo. Stopwatch used by Rumble. Mystic puts a trap underneath him. Gets the headshot after headshot. Meow gets taken down by Mystic. The sniper is kiting forward, and they've locked down Martin as well. Delivered back to the team is Easyhoon, but both of them get out alive with the portal. Team WE lose a turret, but a team fight is picked up by them.
And the big difference there was that Meow still did not have his ultimate, so even though Vici had a 5v4 for about 5 or 6 seconds, they weren't able to close the deal right there and actually hand over a couple of kills to WE.
So Gold still dead even. Team WE lose a turret, but here was then again, they thought they were collapsing on Condi, but everyone just shows up into the top lane.
Yeah, this was a really good situation at the start from Vici. You could see the teleport was relatively late coming out from 957, but he's coming in with the ultimate. Ults on 5 people at the same time, forces them all back, and we can see Ben with a cheeky play right here. Actually gets to the exploding plant before Vici members, but Easyhoon is still able to bail everyone out.
They tried to stop Caveman from getting back into the Ryze ultimate, but Easyhoon is able to get himself and the support out alive. Gold dead even, as we mentioned before that team fight. Team W have taken down 2 outer turrets in this match, but so have Vici.
And Vici were only a couple of seconds off from that Rumble ultimate. So far we see W, they really play around their timing so well. We were able to get a top lane tower push and a good team fight in that time frame that Meow did not have his equalizer.
Now Team W playing a little bit closer towards this Mountain Dragon. See Mystic as well as Ben slowly clearing up this bottom lane. Pressure coming out from Vici on the bottom side of the map as well. Crash is brought down there. xiye picks up his own blue buff. We saw Easyhoon pick up his own. Oh no, he does not have his own at the moment. That's still available.
Vici going for the Mountain Drake. It's been up for a very, very long time. Actually, it's going to be the first Drake of the game. Wanted to bait WE into a fight here, but WE very intelligently deciding to put their duo into the top lane, never really giving Vici the chance.
Gangplank's ultimate just came up and is available now for 957 as well. And they're still looking to try and push top side of the map. 1,000 gold is the advantage for Team WE, making sure they play this one a little bit slower than the last game.
Yep, WE are in no rush. They're not fast pushing. They just want a good 5v5 team fight in the late game. And we can see W have all bought some insurance to keep that, to keep Vici off of them. Everyone on their team, aside from Ben now, has a stopwatch.
As Vici, we saw in that last teamfight, used quite a few of their stopwatches. We'll have to take note of that in the next teamfight to come. Big advantage for Team WE. Vici, however, Zhonya's Hourglass has been picked up by Meow. Easyhoon's stopwatch is broken, still holding onto it. And it is Caveman, the only other person left with a stopwatch on their team.
In terms of a macro sense, what's really important for WE is that they actually managed to pass Caitlyn's weak phase. You know, Caitlyn kind of has an M-shaped power spike where she has a trough in the middle when she hasn't had her second items. They were able to pass that phase against Ginsu Rageblade without dropping any kills. So this is actually very good macro play from W. They're able to hold on the mid-game, win the fights, and even take some turrets down. It's still up to Vici Gaming if they want this game to really push hard.
Mystic is just going to get stronger and stronger from here. Infinity Edge as well, Static Shiv already picked up. Those are the two items you're talking about. Targon's Brace as well, to give that little bit of extra shielding once the quest is complete. Looking for her third crit strike item, or I should say second Zeal item of the match. Last game it was a rapid fire cannon picked up a Mystic, giving Caitlyn that added range. As Easyhoon going to have to try and get out of this top side map. That was a flash being used by xiye. Condi tried to cut him off, not going to work out.
It's a good play here. Using Abyssal Voyage to go to the top lane and then teleporting back. Should be able to defend.
Triple taunt coming out from xiye, but he has no teammates around him. That's 4 members of Vici collapsing onto this Galio. There's that first stopwatch coming out from Team WE. Ultimate comes out from Taric, but xiye wants to jump back in. If he had flash there, could have been a big engage, but it was used top side of the map. Condi looking to try and get behind the rest of Vici, but they get out safely.
Still a lot of ultimates up for W. They are going to press the issue here. They know that Martin does not have his Chain of Corruptions up, so there's not much chance that Vici can actually go for an engage here. Gonna push that wave in. No more minions, so just back out and establish vision.
No ultimate available for Caveman as well. WE have good vision control over the Baron buff, although Vici had some placed down. Now most of them have been cleared out, except for that one left in the Pixel Brush.
And right now we can see that W has actually surpassed the gold lead from Vici Gaming, the first time the entire game that they've been able to do that. And I feel like they've been able to do it a little bit too early. Realistically, Vici want this game to end around 32 minutes, have a big mid-game team fight, have a couple of them and just kind of snowball that fight. They don't want W to have the upper hand so fast into the game.
So we have some interesting item pickups coming out from the two teams. Yes, we see 2 adaptive helms from Team W, which work well against Rumble as well as Ryze. But more Malmortius, second item pickup for 957, and a Guardian Angel, second item being picked up by Varus coming into this match. Martin does not want to die.
Yeah, I feel like Martin has a good read on the situation he's been put in. He's going to go up against Gangplank barrels, Cannon Barrage, a Cannonball combo, made up of Galio and Zac at the same time. And if he somehow manages to survive all of that, there's also an Abyssal Voyage as well. So I think it's actually a good purchase at this point.
He has the Ninja Tabbies as well, so going to be quite resilient to damage. On top of that, overheal, fleet footwork as well as the Relic Shield coming out to keep him nice and safe in these team fights. Lifeline from Guinzu's, not Lifeline, sorry, the passive from Guinzu's Rageblade should help him out with the healing as well. But a little bit lackluster in damage compared to Mystic, who is looking for his second Zeal item shortly. Has been sitting on these 2 items for some time. And is 60 CS ahead of Martin in this match so far. Vici looked like they were going for a small engage there, but were not able to collapse onto anyone in the mid lane. xiye changing his build this game though, going for a little bit more tanky with the Abyssal Mask and the Adaptive Helm.
Yeah, they do have enough damage on their team for him to do so, and you know, in the previous game they were very, very far ahead, so that's probably the reason why you see the death cap as well. Just a win more type of build.
And they're trying to class him the Crashing Caveman. What are they doing this deep into the jungle?
Mystic sidesteps the Dazzle.
Caveman pops his ultimate, gonna live for a short amount of time here. Collapse coming out from Meow on the back flanks, but Team WE still trying to take down Caveman first. He pops his own stopwatch, but will fall after flashing. 957 gets the kill, but Team WE trapped in this choke point. Meow getting good damage over the wall. Mystic's trying to kite up this Rumble. Meanwhile, Sejuani's being delivered back into the team. Guardian Angel popped by Martin. He's gonna fall in this fight. Mystic kites back, gets the headshot. Crash falls at the same time. xiye collapse Martin, gets a good kill onto the Varus. Up uppercut gonna knock back Easyhoon as Ben saves his life. Easyhoon now last member alive for Vici, tries to run away, and Team WE have their eyes still set on this Ryze. Mystic's still alive, Ben's still trying to chase forward for this one. Easyhoon has to try and get out of this, forced to flash away.
Wow, so Easyhoon trying to make a miracle there, stay around and try to dissuade WE from taking that team fight over there. But the problem with that fight is I felt like Vici members were separated way too far. You could see the Rumble really wanting to do AoE, but he was stuck over the wall with Mystic on his side, so he really couldn't get into the team fight. Also, the starting CCs, the first shots in that fight were missed a lot of the time. Mystics was able to sidestep a lot of that. Let's see, the Baron does go over to xiye.
Team WE now going to look to try and take down Caveman, who was caught wandering in the river, I should say, trying to see if he could pick anyone off. Easyhoon tried to steal away the Baron, not going to happen. But here was that collapse. What were Caveman and Crash doing here?
Now, they were kind of stuck in a bad position, a 4v2 actually at the start of the fight. We wanted to go into vision, and you could see Meow is the most fed person on Vici, but his positioning in this fight, he just couldn't go in over the traps, only was able to put his ultimate down, and I feel like Gangplank had a lot more effect on this team fight than Meow did. So that was the main difference maker in this fight, and the rest of this, a lot of it is just kind of cleanup situation from here. We can see the perfect timing being used from 957 still goes down, but xiye able to survive this fight against Easyhoon. Ben does get the miracle safe, and W now with the Baron and a one-team fight under their belt.
Fantastic kiting coming out from Mystic as well, and great trap placement. He now has his rapid-fire cannon complete, as well as a Vamp Scepter for good sustain in this game. It was a very good start to this match for Vici, but equally strong response coming out from Team WE.
I think the main problem with Vici was you saw Meow have a very good start. He was up 3-0, but then he wasn't able to use his ultimate, the equalizer, in a team fight for the next 10 or 20 minutes. Like, I think it's probably 15 minutes before he actually got an equalizer in a team fight. So, you know, it's this game. I really think it showcases what tempo is in League of Legends and how good WE is at that tempo game, because they're able to find engages and fights in times that are very inopportune for their opponents.
Well, they're looking for another fight in the mid lane here. Vulnerability comes out from Caveman, but not in time to save Martin. And the rest of Team W will pile into the mid lane. Ben eats up the Taric. He takes that kill for himself. And with Baron buff, Team W are going to march down mid lane.
Yep, and we can see the danger of going into a Fast Guardian Angels at this point is that it's really a one-time thing. If you don't make good use out of it the first time, then the gold value drops significantly, and you're kind of stuck with a weird choice in the mid-game. Equalizer comes down to clear.
Doesn't have too much damage. That Equalizer is not going to take down all these minions, allowing Team W to get some good damage on this turret. In fact, 957 says, you know what? I'll take it up for a bit. Let's take down the inhibitor. And just like that, a couple of picks in the mid lane with that Baron buff. Team WE take down 3 turrets and an inhibitor. Vici's still looking to see if they can go for a fight. They pull back Meow with the taunt, forced to go into stasis, trapped right underneath the Rumble. Headshot comes out from Mystic. xiye gets that kill, and they're still going for more fights. xiye actually heading back to base here, trying to get that empowered recall, but Chains of Corruption slowly stopping Team WE from retreating.
And WE making another very clean fight, taking down the mid inhibitor. Right now there's not much to be had on the map, so I'm expecting a clear back. Martin walks up, gets hit by the cannon barrage into the taunt, into xiye's Q. And that was basically 2-man damage, and that can happen anywhere on the map from now on.
Team W get those 2 picks, they go to push for more. Meanwhile, during the match, Easyhoon was caught out slightly. He uses his ultimate as well as Sonya's Hourglass to get away back to safety. But what was a Vici-led game now? It's a 9,000 goal lead for Team WE. Crash wants to go one-on-one against Mystic here. Teleport is going to be coming out from Meow, I believe, but Tahm Kench is here. They say, all right, we'll take the 2-on-2. Mystic flashes away from the equalizer. Meow gets eaten up by Ben. Here comes Galio, slams into the ground, and Team W say, you know what? We're not letting Mystic go down without a fight. He doesn't even go down to begin with.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird engage from Crash. He actually used his gap closer to place a ward behind Caitlyn. So he was really banking on his teammates coming down before the enemy team and trying to collapse on the Caitlyn. It didn't happen. There was a Galio there. Abyssal Voice also in the fight very early on. Yep, I feel like that's a desperation play coming out from Vici.
When they tried to pull the trigger, it didn't work. Team WE get further ahead, now pushing for top lane in the turret, the last turret standing outside of Vici's base. And what's next for Vici here, Clement? Because it just looks like we're back to square one of last game, where Team W just take whatever they want on this map.
Yeah, at this point, Vici, they really have no chance of winning a 5v5, so they're going to have to catch, but I'm not sure how you do that either. I just don't see how Vici are going to come back into this game without very large mistakes coming out from WE.
It's going to be short of a miracle here for Vici to try and pull back a team fight almost. Mystic standing so far forward, the 5-item Caitlyn. Easyhoon almost gets caught out as well by Condi. Sidesteps the W, but will get knocked back into Crash. Delivered back into the team, but there's the Zonies to keep him safe. Mystic in some trouble, and Meow's the one that's taking a beating. Spat back out into the front of the team fight. Traps underneath their own means Meow will fall. Vici stuck inside their own base. Invulnerability coming out for the 4 remaining members, but not for long as Tahm Kench jumps into the backlines, delivers a Galio, gets a double taunt. Condi piles in as well. They'll pop the Guardian Angel onto Martin once more. He's going to come back up to a barrel, to a trap, and to a Galio. 957 gets that kill. Vici retreat to their fountain.
And this does look like the game. There's 41 seconds on Martin. Not enough defense coming in from Vici.
And there's a triple taunt coming from xiye, looking to try and end this game with style. Mystic gets another kill. Easyhoon stuck trying to defend on top of his own fountain. But WE won't even let them come back onto the Summoner's Rift. You stay at your base, friends. We're not going to let you out. You're not going to be able to defend this Nexus. The last Nexus turret is going to fall. Team WE, with the very similar team composition, they're able to take game 1, and game 2 goes to them as well.
So W once again playing off the tendencies of Vici, knowing that they probably won't go super aggressive onto their own composition. And I feel like the big thing to take away from this series for WE is that they found something that they're very familiar with, bringing out the 2017 composition, and you can see they have staple picks, the Gangplank, the Caitlyn, and the Galio, and if they just change their supporting picks, they can change the entire dynamic of that team composition. From a fast pick composition in Game 1 to an all-out teamfight composition in Game 2, they played around the enemy draft, they played around the enemy tendencies, they looked very clean in terms of tempo in the game, and I just feel like maybe it's Condi, but W looked good.
W definitely looked good. Vici tried though. In game number 2, they changed a lot of their team composition to try and counter out what Team W were doing. They picked off the Gangplank nice and early on the top side of the map. They won a couple of early skirmishes, but even that just didn't feel like it was enough.
Yeah, they could have been 5 seconds away from winning this game. I think this is something that we have to mention. If Meow had his equalizer in that top lane fight, they could have turned it. But I would also say that I feel Crash really does need to do more on his Sejuani. I don't feel like he's done enough to start fights and do engages. And that's going to be a huge problem for them moving forward if they want to play this type of a composition that needs a lead in the mid-game. They've been picking a lot of Varus, they've been picking a lot of Kalista, but if you want to go into that composition, you have to have the correct mentality for it.
And it almost feels like Easyhoon's been neutralized in that mid lane matchup as well. No xiye pickup coming here, lots of bans coming out. On top of that, the Galio 2 games in a row. What do you do if you're Easyhoon in that mid lane?
Well, you try to match the roams coming out from the Galio. You're probably not going to kill him in lane, but you try to, just follow him around.
Try to stay relevant.
Yeah.
Try as best as you can.
The picks that we do see have potential against Galio, I'd say the Cassiopeia would be one of them, but we're not sure if, currently Easyhoon still plays that pick. And just there we saw a banner, 280 consecutive games with xiye and Mystic playing together. The longest duo in all of LPL currently.
Wow. 288 games there coming out from the 2 carries of that team. This time round, it's Mystic that leads the front lines in damage, rightfully so. Is Caitlyn, although, didn't have the luxury of sitting back and just poking turrets all game, like game number 1, was a force to be reckoned with in teamfights. Almost single-handedly zoning out Meow and a couple of them as well.
Yeah, and this composition is so versatile in terms of engages and then moving back to their back line. So Mystic was very well protected even when his front line was going for engages. They could just Galio ult straight back and Mystic was completely safe. So a very easy game from him, to be honest.
Very similar team composition in game number 2 for Team WE as to what was game number 1. With that, they pick up the 2-0 victory over Vici. For now, though, to break down that series further, let's send it back to Rusty and Pulse.
Cheers, Fish, and it was pretty much that. It just felt a little bit too easy in that second game. It just felt like they just ran it back with the composition, ran it back with how the early game went, and then won the game.
Yep, that's literally it. Team WE started off shaky in the second game as well, and that's where I'd want to kick this one off in the first place. Vici looked significantly better in game number 2. They were aggressive early, they picked on a lane, and honestly, it was a mistake from 957 to be there to die at all in the first place, but he did die, and that's not the part that I'm complimenting Vici for. It's what they did with that. Once they got a kill for Meow, or once they got lane control for the top lane, it went to the rest of the map. It went down to this bottom lane where Mystic does get the MVP from, and they tried to keep him down, and it lasted a little while, but not long enough.
No, it did not. Mystic will end up getting the man of the match, though, on his Caitlyn, and it was pretty much damage numbers in this one. If we're just looking at the statistics, you would give it to Mystic here, but I will say credit where credit is due. Meow did very well with that initial kill, managed to snowball his lane, and we were sat backstage saying there's a good chance we get into team fights. He just obliterates everybody with the equalizer.
Yep, we said 957, you know, has a similar amount of power to that of Meow, but Meow started the snowball. He was 3-0 one stage, I believe, or 2-0, and was doing exceptionally well. So if they hit a team fight, if they hit a moment where he's able to destroy everybody with the equalizer, with the overheated flame spitter, then yes, Vici absolutely could have won this game. But it was never to be, and it was too slow and methodical from Team WE in preventing them, and then picking the correct fights to have for themselves.
And we will take a look at this replay. Is this one of your songs?
Yeah, it is actually.
Alright, talk me through this one.
So the thing that we want to highlight in this the most is actually the Galio second taunt. So the first one, Caveman nicely dodges, and now they're pushing forwards and trying to split the fight up into 2 points. But Meow wants to go in, he wants to take apart Mystic, or at least contribute in some way to the backline. But xiye somehow has the presence of mind to protect the AD carry whilst zoning away Easyhoon on the top side of this fight as well. So in such a disconnected skirmish, I think the biggest problem for Vici is that they took a disconnected skirmish, but how well W able to navigate these fights. Again, credit to how long they've been playing together as a team and as a unit. They know everything that they should be doing in team fights, and an example of it just there.
Yeah, I got real confused. I thought we were just running Rusty Spotify players underneath that B-roll there, but no, completely agree with you. It was simply an outclassing, and that's what it felt like here. Like, it's everything that Vici wants to do. WE have done it, and they've done it for longer, and he just showed it against Vici. Now, Vici, they have very much the same playstyle as what we saw last time from them, splits and splits ago when they were back in the LPL, and they ran a composition that needs to get ahead in the mid game. Now, if they want to continue playing like this, Rusty, how do Vici change their playstyle, and how do they adapt to what they're picking?
I mean, if the strategy behind them is to get ahead in the mid game, they should change that to the early game, and they should probably try and get ahead then. Be more aggressive early, try and make more plays at that point in the game to get the lead, and then play how they are right now if they need to. Play slowly, be methodical, and actually be consistently able to close games out with the lead that you've gained in the early game. If they don't get that because they're losing lanes, then it's never going to happen. And for me, it's as simple as saying, like, Caitlyn wins lane. So either get rid of the Caitlyn or pick the Caitlyn. Do something about winning the 2v2 in the bottom lane. Varus was a good option for it, but unfortunately it didn't work as planned for them. The Taric doesn't really have a lot of lane pressure. Mid lane, Ryze, good idea for wave clear. And I think the biggest difference is, like, these ideas are all sound. Their adaptations were sound. Jungler, do something.
All right, fair. I wasn't expecting that to be the end of your sentence, but I totally agree, because it ended as fast as the games did today, Rusty. There's a transition for you. Let's take a look at some of the games that we have coming up tomorrow and see if those games go for a little bit longer, because I was not expecting how today turned out. FunPlus Phoenix will be taking on WE to start it, so if you missed out on this game because it went over in a flash, you get more of them tomorrow, and that will be JD Gaming taking on RNG for our second game of the day, and we'll be rounding out at the same time with Rogue Warriors and LGD.
All three of these games have a lot of potential to be good. You know, you talk about Vici needing to do something against Team WE. Well, FPX are the side that will do exactly that. JD have the chance to show up and be massive as well. Mid lane's exciting, but set 3 is, I'm going to call it the wild card match here. It's a matchup to be excited about, and I mean, honestly, it could be super explosive. It could be neither at all.
Yeah, it could. It could be one of the others. But either way, I'm very excited to watch it. FunPlus Phoenix have been a very exciting team to watch so far. So there's a lot of teams that we could watch tomorrow that will be very fun to watch. Either way, we are going to end it here for the analyst desk, but stick around because we are going to send it over to an interview with Clement, who is standing by with xiye.